Alright, some legal business now as a court ruling clears the sale of the Denver Broncos. So, according to Ian Rappaport, he said this is how it goes. The people who want to buy the team have to have their own groups. They have to buy their team. They have to come up with a number. They give it to a team in an envelope. The team will say yay or nay, or yeah, we want something like that. And whatever offer, they'll take the highest offer. They'll take it. Then you have to go through the owner commission, which basically has all the owners say, yay or nay, we want you as the owner. And if they agree, then you can become an owner in the NFL. How that works is there's a lot of back and forth, but it will be entertaining to see this come to fruition in the off season. My concern, if I'm the, well, it's not even concern. It's going to have to be a person with a lot of money. That's why these groups are on the go. There is truth to the fact that Peyton Manning and John Elway are on separate sides. They want to own the Denver Broncos. Now, if Manning wins, that would probably mean the end of the Manning cast, which would be unfortunate because I really enjoy it, and I know a lot of people enjoy it. But it would be cool to see Peyton Manning run an organization as a part owner or as a full owner. It would be entertaining. But back to football. In a surprising move, and one of the more surprising moves, the Texans have fired head coach David Cully. To me, this was unfair. And they said, well, different philosophies and all this stuff. Look, he did, and that team did, as good as they could. That team was bad. There was no chance. You have Bill O'Brien, as Ian Rappaport put it, good coach, bad executive in making decisions in terms of personnel. Okay, I guess that's fair. But to me, when you make a trade for David Johnson, you trade away DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson and a pick. You basically told the world, we sold, or we got rid of, we traded one of our best players for a bag of nickels. Made no sense. Made 0 sense. I don't know why. I still can't understand it. And now you get rid of the one thing that the players were actually fighting hard for, which was their coach. But David Cully, he got fired. He didn't deserve to be fired, in my eyes. Probably didn't deserve to have the job. But he did fairly well as a coach. Sure, the record doesn't show it, but that team played hard for him. Now, they had Hines Ward interview for the job. They had even Josh McCown. Like, you could easily see he was just a placeholder. He's a guy until probably they said this. He's a guy who's just there until Josh McCown retires and goes into coaching. I guess, but I probably wouldn't want Josh McCown to be the head coach. Start him off like a quarterback coach, then so on and so forth. Raiders inform general manager Mike Mayock that he won't be retained. So he was fired after 3 seasons. The Raiders were 25 and 24 when he was the general manager. To me, this doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. I don't get it. Because in an impossible situation where you have your coach resigns because of emails that were leaked to the press that weren't even a part of the Raiders. He wasn't even a coach for the Raiders at the time. It wasn't even supposed to be the Raiders in the conversation. It was supposed to be the Washington football team. That's the end of the story right there. But John Gruden was the scapegoat. You got executives leaving in the off season and leaving before training camp and leaving before the regular season starts. You have players getting fired and leaving because of various things that they could not do outside of football that they were doing. Let's just leave it at that. And you fire Mike Mayock, who gave you Rich Bisaccia, who a guy that no one thought could be a coach. Yet, Mike Mayock said he's the greatest leader I've ever seen. When you say that, that's, first off, that's a big vote of confidence. But second off, we all kind of like, he's not a coach. Are you kidding? He's a special teams guy. That's not a coach. You have Gus Bradley who has head coaching experience. Like, why? And then you're like, oh, that's why. Look at what this team can do when he's the coach. And I saw this report that they said that Derek Carr would make his decision, or his decision would be made for him based on who's the head coach. Now, I hope it's Rich Bisaccia. He deserves the job. He did a great job. But I think he deserves to be the head coach, but I don't know if that happens with Mike Mayock now being gone. Now, a lot of people say, well, he could go back, and Mike Mayock could go back into TV. Yeah, but if you want to throw a GM category out there, give him a shot. He did pretty good. They drafted pretty well. Just the guys made their own mistakes. You can't control that. You can only control what's on the field. You can't control what happens outside of football. That's just not... It's not his fault. It really isn't. They actually put this down. Gruden was fired or resigned in October. Now Mayock is done in January. I saw this, and it makes little to no sense. Could Sean Payton be on the move? Could he be on the trade block? Says an NFL insider. I actually wanted to look at this NFL insider. This was Michael Lombardi who put this in on his podcast, the GM podcast. He said Sean Payton could be on the move based on what the Joneses want to do. I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. That would probably be one of the only 3 coaches that would happen, but there's no logical chance that happens. Because look at how good the Saints have been and successful the Saints have been with Sean Payton as the coach. To take a team that had to have so many backups and rotate through 4 different quarterbacks and yet somehow still have a chance to make the playoffs. Pretty impressive. But no, I don't think there's a way he gets out of New Orleans. Now, I also heard stuff about Mike Tomlin. I mean, I just don't see it. It could happen, but there's a very, very low chance that it doesn't. Is Larry Fitzgerald done entirely? Is he retired? He didn't say anything. He was on the minicast last night. He said he's not ready to return. That's his words. He's like, I'm not ready yet. And he's either saying, I'm not ready yet to retire, or I'm not ready yet to return, which he emphasized he's not ready to return. So, is he done entirely? Who knows? The guy played in the same organization for 17 years. I mean, he could still play. Don't get me wrong, he can still play. He's still one of the smartest wide receivers. He can still run. He can still do these things. Whether that's with Arizona or somewhere else. Who knows? This is a person who knows what he wants. Juju Smith-Schuster says he wants to resign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, he said this a lot last year. I want to resign. I don't want to sign. I want to resign. I don't want to resign. And eventually he resigned. But I think that was because of Big Ben, which Big Ben had also said he reflected on his career, but he did not confirm retirement. So that could be all hinging on if Big Ben is there. Which, according to people who said, if he still wants to play, he could. He did pretty good through the whole year, or at least down the stretch. I think the offensive line was just awful. And he was getting just destroyed on everything. And finally, what happened to the Cardinals? Why? What happened to the Cardinals? Why was it so bad? Well, I think a lot of it is they were so good for so long and then they just crashed. Happens to the best teams, to the worst teams. It just happens in the NFL. You can't expect teams to not adjust. They are. That's what happened to the Cardinals. They didn't expect it was going to happen, and they lost that.